Hello and welcome to Bryan Living and Learning. I'm Sandy Ferris, Communications Director for Bryan ISD. Well, the fall season is underway and we have a lot to show you about some of the activities and programs in Bryan ISD. But first we wanted to show you some scenes from the recent memorial conducted by the Bryan Emergency Services personnel to honor those who lost their lives on 9/11.
September 11, 2001 is a date that will always be remembered. The Bryan Fire Department, along with other local first responders, paid tribute to their fallen brothers by climbing the stairs of the 7-story Barisco building in downtown Bryan 15 times. This equals the 110 stories climbed by the first responders in New York City when the Twin Towers collapsed.
Well, we're just honoring our fallen brothers from 9/11, and it's just one way we can pay our respects.
Well, 9/11 is just a big event for all firefighters. I was a freshman in college on 9/11, and it just kind of made a really big impression on me. Not exactly what brought me into the fire service, but had a big effect on me. So just come out to respect the guys that serve in the fire department in New York, and came to honor those guys today.
We're each carrying several cards. It's 343 of them. That's how many lost their lives that day, and we're just carrying them up with us to once again honor them.
For the past several years, Bryan ISD has had a partnership with the Confucius Institute at Texas A&M. Recently, we had a group of Chinese teachers who visited some of our campuses as part of that effort.
18 teachers from China spent a week attending lectures at Texas A&M University before visiting our high schools and several classrooms. We talked with one of the teachers about the purpose of the trip.
Okay, actually we form a program that is all the high school in our region. Together we have 18 teachers to come here to learn something new about how to teach foreign language as a language, yes, in China.
This is an online Chinese class that follows the textbook I've been writing for the past few years.
Classrooms in China are structured much differently with a much higher student-to-teacher ratio.
It's quite different from the classes from our country because we usually have larger class size. We have more people, about maybe 50 students all together in a large room, and they just stay in the same room. It's quite different because your students have to move around, yes, after the period, right?
Right.
Yeah, and also we have a smaller period because you have a larger period of time to study for just one lecture. We have divided into two. We just have 45 minutes of one period. You usually break them into small group and have a lot of discussion by themselves, and we usually, maybe we talk more. We talk more, and the students, sometimes we divide them into small groups or pair work, but most of the time we just lecture.
For most of the teachers, this was their first visit to the United States.
It's an amazing experience here, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, very friendly people here, yes, and something very awesome and interesting things around. Yeah.
What do you think of the weather in Texas?
Oh, it's so hot.
So you have finished your project?
Students and teachers both benefited by having the group of teachers in their classrooms.
They have been able to share some cultural things as well as some geographical things with our students. Yesterday, 2 instances, our Chinese visitors were able to address the class. One was able to show different Chinese characters because we were discussing Chinese systems of writing, and she was able to give many examples, and she even was instructing the students on how to pronounce some of the Chinese characters. So that was great for the kids to see kind of a first-hand account of the things that they're learning. Also, another one of our teachers shared a really interesting story about how the actual origins of her city related to some of the dynasties that we had been talking about in class. So we were really able to make connections with the learning as well with the Chinese teachers, and they were able to kind of connect that and bridge that gap for our students. It was also really great to have the students interacting with some of our Chinese teachers. The students started asking them questions, wanting to really know about their students. You know, what are your students doing now while you're here, and what do your students usually do during the day? And one student even asked, what do your students do for PE and physical activity, wanting to know, do they play soccer? And they just had some really great exchanges with our Chinese visitors, and the students were able to get better cultural perspective and really understand, you know, the differences between our American schools and the Chinese schools. So I think it was a learning experience for both parties.
As I mentioned before, the fall season is underway, which means football season for Texas A&M, and as we know, many visitors are coming into town. We sat down with the Convention and Visitors Bureau Shannon Overby recently to find out what that group's mission is for this community.
Well, the Bryan College Station Convention and Visitor Bureau's mission is to enhance economic and social growth in the Brazos Valley by promoting, developing, coordinating tourism, conventions, sports events, and other activities to bring tourists to our area. Tourism, of course, is a big part of the state of Texas. It's a very large industry. It's always in the top 3 industries in the state of Texas, and it's big business for our community as well. In fact, Bryan College Station as a community is ranked the 11th most visited city in the state of Texas. And annually, Bryan College Station is host to over 3.35 million tourists. It's a lot of people coming into our area. And those visitors spend money, not just in the hotels, but they eat in our restaurants, they shop at our shops, they buy gas and groceries in our community and spend over $260 million. So it impacts the residents of our community in ways that we may not understand. It helps keep our property taxes lower because of the money that they're spending, bringing in that general sales tax that helps to cover some of the luxuries that we afford as residents. Tourism in our community generates over $30 million in tax revenue. So as I said, it's big business, and it accounts for a lot of jobs. I think the last year's numbers were 4,560 jobs are attributed to tourism in our community. And last year alone, we booked over 256 different events that we actually had a part in bringing to our community. As I mentioned, that's state association, government meetings, reunions, sporting events, festivals, and that has a potential, and those are for future years out, has a potential of over 71,000 room nights. So that's a lot of people coming in to stay a lot of nights in our hotels. And as I mentioned, it's not just spending money in the hotels, it's also in the restaurants and in the shops. That's what we booked for future years during this past 12 months, but what we've hosted in the past 12 months is 295 different events. Visit aggieland.com. We revamped that a couple of years ago, and it's been really successful for us. We continue to do a lot of online marketing. As we all know, that is the trend when people are looking for a place to visit or hold an event or go, just on a vacation. They're doing all the research online. So we're really promoting all of the online bookings on our website. Work a lot with Texas Reds and selling packages for coming in for Texas Reds. Come and stay a whole, 3 or 4 days. You can book everything right on the website. The online booking engine that we have on our website, we get a percentage of the commission that is, picked up from those hotel room sales. And to date, in the past not quite 2 years that our website has been up, this new website, we've had a total of online bookings totaling $402,000, which means to the CVB, we've made in commissions almost $16,500, which goes back to online marketing. So it's just kind of a cycle. We're able to do more with that money and hopefully get some return visitors. We're here to serve. So all of our services are free of charge. We're funded by the hotel motel tax dollars administered through the 2 cities, and that allows us to provide services free of charge to anyone in the community or anyone who wants to hold an event here. We can help do the legwork for you. So if you've got an idea or you're a member of a state association or organization that you typically go somewhere else for your meetings, bring it here. Show off what we've got here in our community.
just one day. And when I thought about it, I decided when I tried it, I could make time go away. But you gotta make time for time. You can't fast forward, no, you definitely, you can't rewind. That's how I know you gotta live for now. Gotta make time for time. You can't fast forward, no, you definitely, you can't rewind. That's how I know you gotta live for now. It's early evening, afternoon, pretty soon before you know it, time's telling you it's gone. Damn, time can't be defined. There are no lines or conclusions that can be drawn. I had a day, lasted a week, a year. I feel so much so jumbled into just one day. I thought about it, I decided when I tried it, I could make time go away. But you gotta make time for time. You can't fast forward, no, you definitely, you can't rewind. And that's how I know you gotta live for now. I know you gotta live for now. I know you gotta live for now. Live for now. I know you gotta live for now.
Speaking of visitors to town, Texas Reds is coming up in downtown Bryan October 12th and 13th. Though many come for the steak and grapes that weekend, this year we want you to know there is an expanding focus on showcasing the artists in our community.
My name is Logan Farron. I am the program director here at the Arts Council of Brazos Valley, and we are truly excited to be a part of Texas Reds this year. We're partnering with the city of Bryan to bring a whole new level of sophistication to the Artist Showcase. We are going to have great artists coming from all across the country to be a part of Texas Reds this year. So regardless of what you're looking for, whether it's a beautiful landscape or a stunning abstract piece, we'll have something available for you. We have a lot of great local artists that are going to be participating as well from the Brazos Valley Art League. So be sure to check them out. Again, October 12th and 13th, there's going to be a lot of great art at Texas Reds.
I'm Barbara German. I'm with the Brazos Valley Art League. I'm so excited to be a part of Texas Reds this year. I hope you'll come out and see all of the artists and be able to visit with them about their work. I have some work right behind me that's alcohol ink that you may see there. It's very vibrant colors and contemporary. And just come out and see us at Texas Reds.
My name is Wayne Smith, and I'm a local photographer in Bryan College Station, and I'm a member of the Art League. And for Texas Reds this year, I'm going to be displaying a lot of maritime oriented photographs. I had the good fortune this summer earlier to be on the East Coast photographing tall ships. And that's pretty much going to be the theme of my newest works that will be on display downtown Bryan.
I'm Kathy Strassner, and I'm a local artist. I am a jewelry artist, and I make most of my things from silver and a lot of copper. I use semi-precious stones, I'm apt to pick up something, a piece of metal out in a parking lot or glass, and use that for whatever I make. And I live out in the country with my husband, and I get a lot of inspiration for that, my jewelry from there.
We're thrilled to have the support of the Brazos Valley Art League. We're going to have a ton of great local artists participating in Texas Reds this year, from painters to jewelers to people doing watercolors and pottery. There's going to be something for everyone here. We're thrilled with the quality of the artists that are going to be attending, and we hope that you'll come visit us October 12th and 13th on 26th Street in downtown Bryan, in between Parker and Bryan. There's going to be a full spectrum of color at Texas Reds this year.
Bryan ISD has a number of programs that provide real-world, hands-on training for our students. We take a look at some of those career path programs at Hammond Oliver.
This is an ag class here at Hammond Oliver, and these students are interested in an animal career. A lot of them into being vets, some into some other animal industry, and some of them have not been exposed to large animals. So this worked out just perfectly. The trouble with the calf and having to bottle feed it worked perfectly with bringing him up here and letting the VMA class spend some time with him and get used to large animals. And since he has had a health problem once he got here, we were checking some vital signs like respirations, taking his temperature, and now he's had surgery. So he has a couple of things. He has an incision right up here on his throat where they did a cut down and put a catheter for his medications and to keep him hydrated. So we keep an eye on that, even though they super glued it and it's you can't even tell anything was there. Then underneath his belly, he's got about a 10-inch set of sutures where they went in, unrolled the abomasum and tacked it back into place. So everything should be, all his food should be going through well now. And that's another thing that we watch for, that the food that he eats comes out the other end in the right places and in about the right amounts. And we check lymph nodes. Y'all want to do that? Show them where those lymph nodes are that we look for. So we do a comparison every day and make sure that the lymph nodes would be the first place that we would probably see some sign of a problem. And the problem would be that we didn't catch that twisted gut in time and the tissue started dying, and then it sets up an infection. So they don't know why an animal gets a twisted gut, but they suspect that it maybe has to do with bottle feeding. The incidence is a lot higher in calves that are raised on a bottle, and maybe it's because they suck a lot more air than when they're nursing naturally from the mother. But if you catch it early enough, that's the trick. If you catch it before that tissue begins to die, then they can fix it. Most of the time, it's not caught quickly enough, or somebody doesn't recognize how serious it is and the animal dies.
Our teacher, Miss Elliott, actually brought him to us because, I mean, we're the vet medical program here at Hammond Oliver, and so we're just getting some hands-on experience actually having a calf here. We're actually getting to bottle feed him because he was at the vet clinic for a week after he was born, and so when Miss Elliott took him back to his mom, she wouldn't nurse him. So he had needed that nurturing, and so we're getting to bottle feed him.
Right now we don't really know how long we're going to have him for yet, but we're working on weaning him off of his milk, keeping him nurtured, and getting the proper nutrients in him.
Well, you've just seen how some students in Hammond Oliver's Vet Tech program are getting some real-life experience with Houdini the calf. Now we're over in another part of the building, and I'm with Erin Wright, who is the instructor for the CNA program. And Erin, tell us what that is, first of all.
Sure. CNA is for Certified Nurse Assistant, and it's a program that we've offered for about 9 years here. And students do their clinical experience, classroom learning, and get to work with patients out in the community, and then at the end of the semester take their state examination to become certified nurse assistants.
All right, so this is a great career path for someone who may want to get into the health field.
Absolutely. Many of us nurses, doctors, people in the community who are practicing now in healthcare started out as nurse assistants. Right. And I always say, if you want to learn how to take care of people, start by being a CNA. They are the frontline patient care experts.
So we have graduates now who are working in Bryan College Station area in this
all
position.
over the place. Every healthcare facility in town practically has a Hammond Oliver graduate working there.
To talk a little bit more about that partnership that we have with some of the offices around town.
A requirement for the state of Texas is hands-on practical experience. You don't want to hire somebody to take care of your patients until you know that they know what they're doing, that they've actually been hands-on with patients. So we really depend on our community partners to provide those wonderful clinical experiences supervised by the instructors here at Hammond Oliver, but also by their community mentors as well. And so we really depend on our partners, and they have been so supportive with their time, their energy, their expertise, their mentoring. The students really look up to them. They have wonderful, wonderful role models out there in our community.
And today we saw a little bit of what you start to instruct the students on, some general safety procedures. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. We make sure that they're clinically competent before we send them out into the community, and that's safety and it's infection control, some basic patient care type skills. We really stress responsibility, professionalism, confidentiality above all, and really hope that our students, as the face of Hammond Oliver, as the ambassadors of Hammond Oliver, reflect the kind of overall professional that our community wants to hire. And we're real proud of our students. They live up to that task very well.
The Rudder FFA program has seen a phenomenal growth in the last 5 years since the school opened. In fact, 2 of those students will now be presenting their project on a national stage.
The last week in October, we have 2 young ladies from Rudder FFA that will be attending. They'll be representing Rudder FFA, of course, and the state of Texas in the National Ag Science Fair. They participated last July at our state convention and won first there out of 100 and something teams. They then had to take their paperwork and forward it on to the national committee. They looked at it and they evaluated it there, compared it with the other states that submitted them, and they take the top 15 groups only to the national convention. So they're automatically in the top 15 in the nation.
Well, the project is called Hatching a Plan, and basically what we're testing, me and my partner Casey are testing, is different rotation methods on chicken incubation. We got interested in this because both Casey and I incubate chicken eggs at home, and we weren't getting a great result from how many were hatching. So we looked online and saw that if you rotate 3 times a day, that's the recommended. So we went a step further and decided that if we rotated 5 times a day, if that would increase how many eggs hatched. We kept the incubator at Casey's house, and every day during lunchtime we would go and rotate at that time, or in the morning, or whenever we had our allotted time. What we found out from our results is that the modified rotation that we actually did, the 5 times a day, had increased hatch rate versus the 3 times a day, which had some hatch but not many, and then the no rotation had none.
For state convention, we used the week before to put all of our information from our project together, and we laid it all out. Mr. White actually built us a presentation board out of wood, and we printed everything out and cut it out and posted it on our board and made it look all nice. And then we took it to state convention, and they had a setup day. We took our stuff in there and set it up, and then the next day we came in there and there was a time for us to be judged, and so we sat in the waiting area until it was our time, and then we walked back there towards our project, and 2 judges came up and interviewed us about our project, and we got to explain to them what we were doing and what our project was all about. And so for National Convention, it's basically going to be the same thing. We're going to take the same board and set it up and go in there, and then they'll have judges come and interview us, and we'll get to explain to them as well. Overall, we spent probably a good 50 hours, 100 hours at least on this project, researching and actually conducting the experiment and then putting it all together for a presentation. And our project is like 17 pages long when we put it all together, that explains everything that happened in our 3 different trials and what happened in those, showing all our data that we collected and explaining all of that.
Now, while they're also there at the convention, and in addition to representing Rudder and the state of Texas in the Ag Science Fair, they will be picking up a couple of awards also while they're there. Our Rudder FFA chapter, based upon the activities we do throughout the year, we've been recognized as a superior chapter for the 4th year that we've been in existence. We've been every year, and we will be a national 2-star out of a 3-star rating system this year. And hopefully, you know, we get a little better. We've gotten better each year, and they'll be there and get to walk across the stage at the national convention to pick up this award for us. Another award they'll be picking up is Mr. Hancock, who also teaches here at Rudder, and myself will be receiving an honorary American Farmer degree this year. This is based upon all of our vast experience and years of teaching ag and having kids go and participate, the amount of things that we've done over our careers. There's an application process, an interview, and a screening that goes through, and I think there's like 15 people from the state of Texas that's going to be receiving this at the national convention, and we are 2 of them.
Election season is upon us and early voting begins in October. We want to take a moment to remind you that while presidential elections are getting a lot of coverage, there are some local, city, and school elections on the ballot as well, so be sure and scroll down to find those choices on your ballot. Well, before we leave you today, we wanted to begin a new feature at the end of every show. We're going to feature some of the adoptable pets at the Bryan Animal Center. We hope you can find your new best friend. Thanks for watching today. I'm Sandy Ferris.